What if I told you that most of the things you've been taught as it relates to focusing on success and focusing on your goals has been wrong? Welcome to Thank God It's Monday. I'm your host, Eric Twiggs. Joining me is Ted Fells, and we are the Digital Dudes. And today we're going to talk to you about why focusing on success is a recipe for failure. Why focusing on success is a recipe for failure. So, Ted, a while back, as you know, I was training to ultimately run in marathons and half marathons and all of that. So I started by running 2 miles at a time, right? And I had this one day, I woke up with this ambitious goal. I said, I'm going to run 2 miles in 8 minutes and 30 seconds. So, yep, I'm going to do it. That's my goal. So the first day, I set this goal. I had this goal in my mind. I'm running, and the whole time I'm looking at my little uh, timer on my phone the whole time. And I'm looking at how was I doing? How am I doing? And at the end of the run, I'd run 2 miles in 8 minutes and 35 seconds. Okay. Next day, same thing. I'm determined, Ted. I'm going to make this thing happen. I'm running. I'm looking at my app. I'm looking at my phone. I want to see how I'm doing. My focus was on how I'm doing. At the end of my run, 8 minutes and 40 seconds. I said, no, I got to change something. I talked to some of my running buddies, people who'd run marathons before. They told me about how to stretch. They told me about these special supplements. So I did all that. I said, okay, this is going to be the day. I'm going to hit this goal. I get out there, and the whole time I'm looking at my phone. I want to see how I'm doing. I finished with 8 minutes and 43 seconds. I was done. I was frustrated. I said, you know what? That's it. I'm going to stop. The next morning, I'm not even looking at my phone. I'm just going to focus on the posture. I've been watching the YouTube videos and all that. So I said, I'm gonna focus on having the right posture. I'm going to have the right form. I'm going to actually breathe the way they teach you to breathe. That's it. Whatever happens is going to happen. I'm done. I'm just getting frustrated. So I'm running. I finished my run this morning, and at the end, I didn't even look at my phone that whole time. At the end, I looked. I had run 2 miles in 8 minutes and 25 seconds. Here's my takeaway. Here is what that experience taught me, and it has everything to do with your Monday, is that you have to focus more on what you're doing than how you're doing. That's the key. That's what I learned. You have to focus more on what you're doing than how you're doing. Because if you're just focused on how you're doing, it can ruin your Monday, right? You can say, oh, I'm not hitting the goal. Oh, I'm just not hitting the goal. Let's say it's in a sales situation. What are you doing? When you start focusing on the what is in your control, right? You can control how many calls you make, how you make the calls, who you talk to, right? If you just shift that focus, right? It's a little thing. Shift your focus from how you're doing to what you're doing. You'll be in a great position to say, thank God it's Monday. All right, Ted, what are your thoughts?
Man, so you cut off about what you say about 30 seconds?
Absolutely.
Man, that's great. That's great. Yeah, I definitely think that it's a what versus how, right? I mean, and sometimes you can look at others and see how they're doing and then try to compare yourself against them and you don't know the what, right? You don't know the what they are doing. Even sometimes, things will, if you may just make that key contact that one day that all these amazing things just happen, right? So I think that the what you're doing, I think, kind of guarantees that you just stay in the race, you stay in the fight, right? If you just stay in it long enough and be consistent and making sure that you're doing the right things, right? i
Exactly.
think i think i think that I always have this saying. I said, like, you're never there,
Mm,
right? You're never there. If you have that mindset that you're never there, and you're always looking at continuous improvement, how can I do it better? Let me keep looking at my what I'm doing, and keep looking at that, and keep trying to work and refine that. Then eventually you're going to see the results, just like you said, right? You focused on what you're doing, right? And that's gonna and if you just continue to stay in the race, stay in the fight, you're going to see the results. Now, the thing is, again, that's paying attention to the what, right? Because if you go long periods of time and you're not seeing any movement, like, I think
right.
you always need to be looking at it. I think even if you're going periods of time and you're seeing great movement, I still think you always need to be thinking of how do you refine it. If you think about any sports team, right, or any athlete or whatever, like, they win the championship, but they're still thinking about, okay, this thing starts all over again, right? How do I continue to improve, because my competition is out to get me, right?
Hmm.
They're looking at what I'm doing. They're coming up with different strategies. So you can't continue to do the same thing. You always got to be thinking, okay, where's there, right? I'm going to continue to strive, for there. I'm going to continue to try to improve what I do. How can I continue to get? How can I continue to be better at whatever it is I'm doing? And I think, again, if you can just stay in the race and stay in the fight, you'll eventually start seeing the results. And try not to get discouraged by how others are doing, because you don't know what their what is, right? You have no idea who they know, what they're doing. you know uh, so, whether they have a same, that they're playing within the same box that you're playing in. You don't know. You just see, oh wow, these guys over here are killing it, right? So you just got to continue to work on the what, as you said. And I think you'll be able to achieve what you're trying to achieve.
Yeah, absolutely. And you hit on something that's interesting too. Even if you're having the success, I think it's even more important to stay focused on the what. I
Hmm.
saw, and I've said this with you before. There was an interview, they were talking to 50 Cent, the
Mm,
rapper and mogul, and he said that the worst thing that can happen to an artist is that artist's first record becomes a hit,
mm.
because they think they're all that in a bag of chips, and they're not thinking about the what. They're like, I'm good. It is easy to get to that point, and that's why it's hard for the champions and industries to maintain that success. So even if you are having that success, you have the best year, you just landed that massive contract. That's a game changer. You still have to be looking at the what, because
You,
everything's changing.
you got to stay just as hungry, if not hungrier, right? You gotta do that, because if you let off, I mean, yeah, it's too many people coming for you. It's like you said, it's hard to get that next.
Yes, absolutely. So let's focus on that. Yeah, this week, just make sure you're focused on what you're doing, and not just on how you're doing, because you have the most control over what you do. And then find somebody who has the result that you aspire to, and find out what they're doing. Is this something that you can do as well? So that's our time for this week on Thank God It's Monday. And until next time, have a great one.